It's the Mustang Insider Show. Now, here's Chris Sylvester, the voice of the Mustangs.
What's going on, Cal Poly fans? Another edition of Mustang Insider coming your way. Of course, we're talking men's soccer with the head coach, Oige Kennedy, with the Big Blue-Green rivalry matchup coming to Mustang Memorial Field this Saturday, 3 o'clock. Be there. And if you can't be there, we'll have it for you on ESPN+. As always, before we get things up and rolling, we'd like to remind you that award-winning, high-quality, safe medical care that you can trust is just around the corner at French Hospital Medical Center. Proud supporters of Cal Poly Athletics. Learn more at dignityhealth.org/French Hospital. Our friends at Dignity Health making this podcast and all of these podcasts possible. Here's Oige Kennedy, the head coach, Cal Poly men's soccer, ahead of the big match this Saturday against the Gauchos. All right, here he is, Coach Kennedy, joining us on Mustang Insider. Coach, appreciate you taking time. I know this is a busy time of year. You guys have been on the road a lot throughout the non-conference schedule, and right on the cusp now of the Big West season. I know in all your years of coaching, whether it be head coach or assistant coach, you know that this is the time of year you kind of want to see your team turn the corner, play some of their best soccer when you get into conference games, and hopefully gear up for a nice long postseason run. I want to ask you, because it's year 2 for you on the job, how much did you feel like you learned about this program, the Big West, and kind of how to build this thing up from last season?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're familiar with the Big West and the teams because I've spent so much coaching time on the West Coast at Stanford, and then obviously, we always play against each other in the Big West when we were in the Pac-12. So really familiar with the teams, and what a good conference it is. And I think you look at the start that some of these teams have had as well. It's still one of the top conferences, I think, on the West Coast, and with some really good sides. So we've learned a little bit about ourselves more than anything, in terms of, because we've had such a new group. Last year we had 7 freshmen starting for the most part. So it was more kind of introspectively learning about the group and the guys. And we brought in 2 big recruiting classes. So a lot of our learning on the job has been kind of getting our culture right and building it with the new guys and kind of seeing what role everybody's going to play. So that's been probably where we've been concentrated the most, to be honest. I think, it's exciting to watch other teams play and get excited to be in the conference play coming up. And, we've kind of been road tested. We've played some really good opponents. And so we're excited to kind of get to what it really, really matters when you get to actually get some points on the board.
Yeah, you're 8 matches into this regular season now. You mentioned all the time spent away from San Luis Obispo, 6 of those on the road. Couple wins, few draws, right on the cusp of Big West plays we've talked about. How do you like how this group is coming along from that, that first weekend up in the Bay Area, San Francisco, St. Mary's, to, your most recent trip out to Utah as you gear up for this big rivalry game on Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, I think, there's pluses and minuses for us. We're 4 games undefeated, which is great in the last 4. I've got young players like Quinn Mahoney, I think he's scored 3 goals in 3 games, which is awesome. So there's lots of pluses there. I think we learned a lot about ourselves. We wanted to test ourselves. We wanted to go and play away from home, knowing that that's something we're going to have to do in conference to be able to be successful this year. So, we wanted to be battle tested. We wanted to put ourselves against some good opponents in different types of environments, whether that's altitude or playing against, a big crowd or whatever it is. Well, like we'll have against Santa Barbara in a couple of weeks. So we wanted to make sure that, we were trying to get ourselves ready for what we think we'll see in season. So, I'm excited about where we are as a group right now. I think the boys are really chomping at the bit to play against a really good Santa Barbara team, and then open up conference against a Davis team who obviously ended our season last year. So, we've got lots to be excited about in the next couple of weeks.
I'm happy you brought the young man up, because Quinn Mahoney has really started to look comfortable as of late. He leads the team with those 3 goals you mentioned, has a couple of assists on the year. This was a redshirt guy under you last season. What's allowed him to be so effective for this team? And did you get the feeling while he was sitting out last season that this year he could contribute right away?
Yeah, I mean, you see, I think in college sports, you see so much growth and development between, for us as a quarter system, the winter and the spring. And Quinn really had a fantastic winter and spring. And, you know, um, we could see that he was working extremely hard, and we could see that was going to pay off for him. I think he was just waiting for an opportunity. And in sport, you really get an opportunity maybe because someone isn't doing as well, or you're doing great, or in our case, we had some injuries that we lost some guys for the season. So Quinn had to step up, and as a group, we've always preached next man up, and I think he's really grasped that challenge. And I think he's really led from the front. And even though he's a redshirt freshman, I think he's really bought into what we're trying to build as a culture, and I think he embodies a lot of that in his competitive spirit. So it's great to see him get that reward and push himself, and I know his teammates are super happy for him as well to see him kind of get some points on the board because his hard work has always been there.
Let's not underestimate what's coming up, right? Big one Saturday. You get that raucous crowd expected per usual, as this match always seems to give us every year. I call it the biggest sporting event of the year on the Central Coast. I mean, really, I mean, nothing else gets the numbers like this thing does. Blue Green, Santa Barbara, Cal Poly, 3 p.m. It's a mid-afternoon game this Saturday. What was it like to be a part of this game last year?
Yeah, I mean, I'm from Europe, and it feels like a real game from home. I got to experience it coming to watch Santa Barbara Cal Poly here at Mustang Stadium a few years ago, and it was something right away that I knew was different. And so when the job came up here and have the opportunity to be able to do that once, twice a year, too good to turn down. And I think it's really special. We're really fortunate to have that rivalry. I think a lot of people have put a lot of hard work into building it into what it is. So, we're fortunate to get to do that. I think every time these games come around, I know our guys are super excited to show off all the hard work they've been doing and do it in front of a big crowd. And so we're really excited. I think it's like you said, it's something that is unrivaled in the country. I'm fortunate enough to be in a lot of different places and go and play on the road in a lot of different places. But I think this atmosphere is truly special and something that we relish, and we get to do it within basically 10 days of each other. So it's going to be exciting. I know they've had some big crowds this year, so hopefully we can kind of match them for our game on Saturday.
Is the vibe around practice a little different on a week like this? When I know this is a non-conference match technically, right? You flip flop every year, and you'll see them only 8 days apart from Saturday's
Mhm.
match down at their place in a game that will count towards the Big West standings. But it's almost like the start of a new season, but it's a little more than that, right? Like with school starting and everything, these guys are student athletes at the end of the day.
They
And
are, yeah, and
every
I, and I,
so the routine kind of changes a little bit, right?
It does, and look, the energy on campus has just gone up massively in this last week, and with all the students back, and it goes from being a really quiet place to being a really busy place, and our guys, they helped with the move-in stuff, and it was so exciting to see all the students back and to be able to get at the end of this first week such a big game on the calendar has been awesome for us. So I think we're really excited about that. The energy in practice, to be fair to the guys, it's always been really good. I think we kind of without saying it, you kind of have a sense that something big is coming around the corner, and I think the guys, you can see that in their energy level. And we've got to, when you go into a game like this, you've got to manage the emotion, and we've got to be able to tap into what the crowd can bring us. But we've also got to focus in on executing what we think is going to be the best game plan to get us a result.
Well, Saturday's just the start of what's going to be a busy week and eventually a busy month plus for you guys. And I know you want to play your best soccer in October and try and roll that into as many postseason games as possible in the month of November. But it's the Blue Green game here on Saturday. Then it's UC Davis for the Big West opener. They've been playing really well this first month or so of the season. And then you go down to their place the following Sunday, and that'll be a nationally televised match on ESPNU. They'll cover that one in Goleta. Obviously, a win on Saturday could really give your team some serious momentum into the conference season. When you look at the X's and O's of this match, what's it going to take to get it done and be on the right side of the scoreboard against the Gauchos?
Yeah, I mean, we've played Utah Valley and Gonzaga when we played, and we're both two top 50 RPI teams, and Santa Barbara are absolutely cruising in the RPI right now, a top 20 team in the country, and Davis are right there with them. So really, really top opponents to play against. Fortunately, we found a way to get results in the games we've played against ranked opponents. And so, we have an identity that we play with. We have a level of intensity that we like to play with. I think that's what makes us special. I think that's what we'll stick with. I think we have to go out and we certainly give our opponents respect, but they have to be able to earn it as well. And I think, especially here at home, we want to make sure we go out and give the best representation of ourselves. So we have a way that we think can be effective against every team, and we're looking forward to putting that into practice against Santa Barbara, and then obviously rolling it into Davis.
2-0 at home, and we mentioned the home games have been far and few, but that last one against Gonzaga really felt like a complete performance from your team. Would you say in your year and a half now as the head coach, that was the best you've seen your guys play all around wire to wire?
Yeah, I mean, I think look, the Fullerton game last year was special because they could have won the conference. They came here and we had a really good result against them. And so I think, yeah, it felt more complete. I think what it shows is as a group, we're getting better as the season goes on. I think that's what we did last year as well. And when we've had to integrate so many new players because of the injuries we've suffered, it will take some time to get us to where we want to be. And so, to your point, you want to be playing your best soccer in October, and that's where it really counts. The preseason has been really good. We've hit a lot of the milestones that we set out for ourselves, but now it's the really important part of the year where you start to get to look at the points and you get to start to see where you're placed. And I think you really get a barometer of all the work that you've done leading into it. And I think this is where we start to see it pay off.
We mentioned Mahoney and what he's been able to do, especially of late. Who are some other young guys that have kind of jumped off the page to you that you feel like took a big leap over the offseason or in their first year with your program, they've gotten pretty comfortable quickly?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's unusual because we're going to say older players, but Parker Owen is a sophomore and he's been absolutely fantastic. Diego Guerrera again, a sophomore, absolutely fantastic. Joaquin Torres, a sophomore, has been great. So for us, because we've had such a young group, our old guys are still young. So it's kind of they're starting to be seasoned vets with the amount of minutes they're putting in, but they've all really been consistent and great for us. I think Nate Colley obviously has been out and injured, and Nate's slowly starting to progress back to where he can compete. We have to be careful with him to make sure that we're setting him up for success and that he's ready to be able to play because he was out for such a long period. But those are great shots in the arm for us to get us ready for going into conference play. But I think for us, the individual thing, everything we do is based off of the group effort. We talk to the guys a lot about being the lead dog in a pack of dogs and getting after it. And I think overall the group, one week it's been Quinn, another week it's been Parker in the back, it's been Nicky McCune in goal. So every time it's someone different showing up to help lead the pack. So that's great for us. And I think the strength of the group is what we'll always rely on.
All right, Ogie Kennedy, head coach in his second year, Cal Poly men's soccer. It is a big one. Can't understate that enough. On Saturday, it is the Mustangs and the Gauchos blue-green style. Get out to Mustang Memorial Field. If not, we'll have you covered on ESPN Plus. Coach, appreciate your time. Good luck this weekend. Good luck in the Big West season, and look forward to catching up again soon.
Yes, thank you. And hopefully everybody can get out to Spanos on Saturday. We were super excited to show you what we've been working on.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Christopher. Appreciate it.
I have been thinking about rebranding myself as Christopher. Ogie Kennedy, man. Always a great conversation. Big one for Cal Poly men's soccer. Yeah, I mean, all of them are big, right? You get into the Big West, and I mean, there's only less than 10 conference matches in the regular season. So every one of them holds so much weight, so much momentum, feels so fragile at times. But this is just a terrific brand of soccer that this guy is building here in your backyard, San Luis Obispo. So get out to Mustang Memorial Field. It's a friendly game on Saturday in terms of like the time, right? 3 o'clock. That's where you want to be. It's a good time. Still enjoy your Saturday night and hopefully be celebrating a Mustang victory. Busy times are on the horizon for Cal Poly Athletics. It's, yes, the big blue-green game this Saturday, but then women's soccer, volleyball finally back home the following week, and then Cal Poly football, the Big Sky home opener, also the homecoming game the following Saturday, October 5th, 5 p.m. start against the Idaho State Bengals. GoPoly.com. CP Mustangs on socials has you covered. Until next time, we appreciate you tuning in to Mustang Insider.
This has been the Mustang Insider Show. The preceding has been a Learfield's presentation on the Cal Poly Sports Network.